Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast. I am your host, Danger, and joining me is a fellow that I cannot properly break down an album without, Monster. Say hi, Monster.
Yo, good morning. So today we have a very special guest, a guy I am personally very excited to have on the show with us. He's the head of the Geekscape Network, as well as the host of one of my personal favorite podcasts, Weird Algorithm. Please welcome Matt Kelly.
Hey! So happy to be here to eat some breakdowns before I get my breakfast.
On this episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast, we are going to be talking the Offspring album, Ex-Nay on the Hombre. Matt, whenever we have a guest on, we present the option to, for you to bring an album, and you gave us 10 albums for us to pick from, which was not what we were expecting to come back. Why did you pick this album to be on that list, and what were your feelings when this was the one that we settled on?
So I put this one on there because I do think that this is like not a one that people think of. It's kind of like sandwiched between the two biggest Offspring releases. It's not Smash and it's not Americana. It's the one in between. But I will say it was so funny because when you picked this one, I'm trying to remember some of the stuff on my list, but I feel like this was one of the ones where I put it on there and I was like, well, they're definitely not going to pick this one, but this is one I love. So I was actually shocked this was the one that you guys went with. But I'm excited because there's like 3 or 4 songs on this album that I would put in like my 100 favorite songs of all time.
Nice. I appreciate that you said 100 favorite instead of like top 10, like most people would say.
Oh, no. That's, top 10 are like reserved for songs that like, if I hear it under the right circumstances, a tear will definitely form somewhere in the eyeball. None of these songs are making me tear up or cry, but I am a big fan of what I call like the transitional record, right? So like my favorite Blink-182 record is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, because it's like, it's got these elements of young, immature Blink-182, but it has like peppering of their like starting to evolve into what you would get on the later albums. Same thing with like Radiohead, The Bends. You have like a little bit of that post-grunge rock band that was on Pablo Honey, but you're getting a lot of like hints of like what Radiohead was going to become with like more experimental stuff. I think that this album is like that perfect bridge between the like straightforward punk that was the Epitaph years of Offspring, but you are getting that peppering in of like what would actually be the thing that truly skyrocket them to like arena success in those kind of goofier songs.
Okay, now, Monster, I want to ask you a question that you actually asked me when we did an Eve 6 album. How do you feel about Dexter Holland's voice?
Yeah, so I guess it's time for me to let the cat out of the bag. It's probably pretty clear.
Why did you have a cat in a bag in the first place? But
yeah, that's rude.
It's a damn meowing. So I like some punk and some pop punk, but I am not the biggest punk guy. Back when this, 95, 96, 97, I was listening to a lot of stuff that had like a little bit of flavor of it. But, I mean, obviously I heard the big stuff, the Green Days and, the Offspring. And then when the little more mainstream stuff started popping off, like Blink-182 and New Found Glory. Of course, I was in high school, it was unavoidable. I liked some of it, but I was listening to a whole lot of heavier stuff. We've talked about this before, like happy heavy stuff like 311, stuff like Old School No Doubt. I did like some ska and some other stuff, but I just never got super into like this stuff, like NoFX, Pennywise, like skate punk kind of stuff. So for me, Dexter's voice is like almost cool most of the time. I don't love it. There's specifically when he's singing the verses and the choruses, I'm usually okay with it. It's the whoa, whoa, whoas and the yeah, yeah, yeahs where he's like, I feel like his voice is going to crack in half at any moment that I sort of, it's not my favorite. There's 1 or 2 songs, and I'll point them out when we get to them, that I'm like, I'm real into this song, but I don't like that. That part messes it up for me.
Because my thought process is that a lot of these songs were written when they're in their mid-20s to early 30s, when you're not thinking about longevity of singing songs in your vocals. So that's like, I don't know if they do the songs in a slightly lower key now, or like what's the case with that, because he sings really high on a lot of these
he
songs.
does. He does. And that's one of my biggest issues with this album is his, like, when he gets into that higher nasally like range. All right, you guys ready to jump into this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Yeah. Now, Matt, I know on the Weird Algorithm you spend an hour talking about one song. So here.
So that's the plan, right? We're going to do 14 episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be a 14-parter.
About the Offspring. Jesus.
Yeah, we're going to spend 35 minutes on the 45-second opener disclaimer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the disclaimer.